Okay, this will be good. I really liked this one when we did this one. I got my vintage National Park one. Let's see. Oh, this one will be good too. It's the donut one. It's 1,000 pieces. Excited about that one. We'll do that one too.
What are you doing? What have you got there?
I got puzzles. You said we were gonna do puzzles.
Yep.
So I went and found a couple puzzles that I thought we could put together.
Well, I feel a little bit sheepish now, but you know, I meant puzzle games because we're for game and for glory, not for puzzles and for praise. Hi everyone, I'm Tom.
And I'm Janelle, and this is For Game and for Glory, where we talk about tabletop gaming and look to see if there's any connections with the Christian walk.
When I was real young, I had all these basic puzzles growing, and I loved putting them together. But slowly but surely, I graduated from those little 4-piece puzzles to 100-piece puzzles. And somewhere along the way, the joy of the jigsaw puzzle, it just lost something for me.
Well, it didn't for me. It never did, because I still enjoy a good puzzle.
So when it comes to the two of us together, however, when it came to puzzles and playing games, we started playing games like Tetris together. And that gave some of that puzzly nature back to Janelle that I could also enjoy. We then got exposed to games like Carcassonne, where the tiles had to work together to create a large landscape in the end. We also liked it so much, that Carcassonne game, that we began taking pictures of the completed maps at the end of the game.
We also played games like Blokus, for example, and that was actually probably our first Polyomino game. So when we say Polyomino, what do we mean? The first thing that's probably easiest to jump off from is the idea of a domino, which is 2 squares put together to make a rectangle. Polyominoes, therefore, are sort of a variation of that. And it's, again, using that square as a foundation. But polyominoes can range from just 1 square alone to a collection of squares, like 5 squares together, for example, that make an L shape.
Today, we're going to take a look at some polyomino games that have a puzzly nature. Then we're going to look at how these different shapes fitting together have an important picture to present to us in our Christian walk.
Let's start by talking about that game we've already mentioned, that first polyomino game for us, the game Blokus.
Blokus is an abstract strategy game that has Tetris-shaped polyomino pieces. In this game, players try to place all the pieces of their color onto the board. Each player must start by covering a corner square. Each piece after that must touch at least one piece of the same color, but only at the corner and not along the edge. Your pieces can touch other colors along the edge, however, with no problem. The game ends when everyone is blocked from laying down any more pieces.
So 3 reasons why Blokus is in our collection. Number 1 is the nostalgia. As I said, this is a game that's been in our collection for quite a while.
Yep.
And is probably going to stay because of that. Another reason is the fact that it is an abstract game. And for some people, that is just a comfortable entry point. They like the idea of just seeing that pure mechanism at play. And third is that Tetris association. And it has something very recognizable when you look at it. You automatically recognize those Tetris type pieces, although it does play different than Tetris, obviously.
Yeah, blocks aren't falling down on you.
Yeah. For our next game, we're going to actually kind of go back in time to the medieval age with Era Medieval Age.
Era Medieval Age is a roll and build polyomino game, but these polyominoes show up in the game as 3-dimensional buildings. In this game, players are transported back to the medieval era and attempt to build the most prosperous city. Each player has a certain number of dice that represent different classes of their society, from peasants to nobles. These dice will be used to collect resources in order to build buildings like keeps, churches, walls, and farms. The game also involves player interaction with a bit of take that, where players can use extortion to take other players' resources by rolling sword symbols on their dice to overcome another player's shield defenses. Players' personal game areas can also have disasters where skulls are rolled, causing scorched earth. By the end of the game, each player will have their own unique city that they have built and will tally up their scores in order to declare who has the most prosperous city of the era.
So 3 reasons why Era Medieval Age is in our collection. Number 1, it brings that dice aspect into the game in addition to the polyominoes. And we really enjoy games with dice rolling, so that hits a sweet spot for us. Number 2 is table presence. This has some really nice components, and it does have that, a little bit of that toy factor going on. When you see the pieces out on the table, it's really hard not to want to pick them up and start interacting with them. And we enjoy that. And number 3 is the simultaneous play. The game has a great tracker as you're going through the 6 phases. The first player will lead everybody through those phases. We all do it together. So it kind of condenses the play as far as the time, which is really nice. Let's talk about one of the many Polyomino games created by designer Uwe Rosenberg. And this one has a zoo theme, and it's called New York Zoo.
New York Zoo is a competitive polyomino game in which players design animal parks and race to be the first to completely fill their personal zoo boards. Each turn, players move an elephant along a central action track a certain number of spaces and perform one of 2 main actions: acquire a new enclosure tile, one of the polyomino, or acquire new animals. Animals are taken to populate existing enclosures that have been placed in the zoo and are crucial for animal breeding. Animal breeding occurs when the elephant crosses specific spaces on the action track. When this occurs, players that have 2 animals can breed their species, and a new animal of that kind is added to the same enclosure. When an enclosure is completely filled with animals, they are returned to the general supply, and the player can place an attraction tile on their board to help fill the board faster. The first player to cover all the empty spaces on their zoo board wins the game immediately.
So 3 reasons why New York Zoo is in our collection. Number 1, it brings the animal breeding aspect and animal collection aspect to the polyomino puzzle piece. You are not only trying to fill your zoo, which is the main goal, but you also want to try to breed some of those animals where you can spread them out, get additional tiles, and even get some of those attraction tiles.
Oh, for sure.
Number 2, it has a theme that we really enjoy. We obviously have this game with a zoo theme. We have Barren Park, which is another classic polyomino game, again with a zoo theme. That one is specifically a bear park or bear zoo. Ark Nova is one of our favorites, zoo theme. And there are also several games on our wish list that have, guess what? Zoo theme. So it is one that we really enjoy and we gravitate towards. And number 3 would be that race mechanic that is embedded in it. As far as finishing the game, scoring, it's very simple. First person to fill their zoo and fill all the spaces. Now we're going to talk about a game that I actually bought for Tom this year for our anniversary.
Yeah.
It's one that he enjoyed playing digitally, and now we have a physical copy of Planet Unknown.
Planet Unknown is a simultaneous polyomino game where players are developing a new planet to save humanity. In this game, a Lazy Susan device in the center of the table holds all the tiles and depots for each shape. This serves as a space station from which players will develop their new planet. Each round, the station commander will determine how much or how little to rotate the Lazy Susan until the depot desired is in front of them. Then, each player drafts one of the 2 tiles in front of them. This is simultaneous for all players. They place their tiles on the board according to the tile placement rules, claim the resources, and advance the tracks for each resource. Some tiles will contain meteorites, which will negate scoring the rows or columns they are at the end of the game. The only way to get rid of these tiles is to take a rover over to the meteorite. The rovers can also be used to collect life pods as well, and at the end of the game, all points are tallied to determine who developed the planet the best. There are 3 reasons Planet Unknown is in our collection. The first is table presence. That's something we've talked about before. Here with the Lazy Susan, the deluxe pieces, and the artwork, it just gravitates people towards the game. And that becomes really important to us because we want to play games with more people. The second is that Planet Unknown may well be the piece de resistance when it comes to polyomino games. There are so many decision points in this game. There are many ways to win, and yet the rules are still so simple. The third is that what I would call an equation, player number times time spent playing. This game that has a lot of detail, a lot of options, a lot of gameplay in it. With 6 players, you use that simultaneous gameplay, it throws them in a game like this and it gets done so quickly. It's a triumph of gaming. Too often, the only way to do this is to play a game like Flip 7 or Just One. Games we like, but games that just don't have that same depth.
So Planet Unknown lets us get a game that's maybe a little bit more thinky to the table with a higher player count.
When thinking about polyomino games and how they connect to the Christian walk, one obvious theme popped out to me: the church itself. In polyomino games, pieces are different shapes that are often serving different functions and different roles, and yet they piece together to create one cohesive thing, whether it's a zoo, a bear park, a developed city, or what have you. With the church, we are all different, with different gifts, different abilities. We may come from different cultures and different backgrounds, but if we are in Christ, then we all have a part in one body. Let's look at two different passages in the Bible to help explain this. Let's begin by looking at 1 Corinthians 12 through 14. For just as the body is one and has many parts, and all the parts of that body, though many, are one body, so also is Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, whether slaves or free, and we were all given one Spirit to drink. Indeed, the body is not one part, but many. So we are all different, and we're made by God to be different, but we have one Spirit and are brought into the body of Christ. We're intended by God to be different. We're not homogeneous. We all do not all fit the same mold, but the things that unite us are Christ and His Word. We are to hold Christ above all else and to cling to the truth of His Word. As we do, we use our different abilities, our different skills, our different gifts, our different talents for His glory and for the church body and to reach a lost world. In a culture that's so divided, we, the church, should be clearly different.
When we started thinking about polyomino games as our topic, the verse that came to my mind is 1 Peter 2, 4 through 5. As you come to Him, a living stone, rejected by people, but chosen and honored by God, you yourselves as living stones, a spiritual house, are being built to be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. So this does hint at some of the same things that Tom was talking about, the fact that we believers are living stones being built into something new, being built into the church. We're referred to as a holy priesthood, bringing these spiritual sacrifices. A neat thing that I think is brought out in this verse is the focus on Jesus as the living stone and the fact that the church is built on Him as the foundation. He's the main living stone, the foundation stone, the cornerstone, and then we're these little stones, these little Christ, these Christians that are being built together into His body, the church.
You know, we would love to hear from you about passages in the Bible that speak to you when it comes to being the church, as well as any polyomino games that you like. Comment below and we'll be sure to respond.
And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. That tells us that this has been an encouragement to you and that you would like to see more like it.
Until next time, keep gaming and keep seeking His glory.